If you're a producer and you want to make the best use of your time when creating music, then these tips are for you. What's up, people? This is Clint with Airbit, and today I want to talk about producer time management and file management tips that can help you be more productive and help you get more done in less time. So I'm going to share some things that I do. Hopefully they can help you as well, because I always hear about producers just trying to balance, day jobs and family and things like that. So hopefully these things will help you manage your time better, get more done, and so on and so forth. So let's dig into it. So before we start managing our time and figuring out time hacks and things like that, first we have to know what we're spending our time doing, right? Everyone has the same 24 hours, but what are you doing with your 24 hours? So in order to figure that out, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take a log of everything you do in a day, in a 24-hour period. Write it down. You can do it on a spreadsheet. You can do it with pen and paper, whatever works for you. Just write down and take a log of all the activities you do and how long it takes for you to do them. Once you have that list of activities and how long it takes you to do and when you do them, now I want you to take a look and figure out if there are things you can actually cut out of your schedule that may not be as important, or figure out some things that you may be able to do in less time. Also, with the same list, you want to see if there are things that you can actually optimize. Are there things that you could do better so that it can be done in less time? So now that you can actually see and visualize exactly where your time is going, now that you've shaved off some of that excess time on things that, just isn't moving your business forward the way you want it to, now you should be able to see exactly what open time you have to dedicate to music. So I want you to pick a time slot that's going to be solely dedicated to creating music and working on your production business. Pick that time and schedule that time out so that every time from, say, 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. or 1 a.m., you're going to work on music. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, we have a dedicated time to sit down and work on music. The spouse and the kids are all asleep. You got this quiet time. Now you can lock in and focus. So now I want you to make another list of everything that you do in your production business. So this could be actually making the beats. This can be uploading the beats. This could be typing in description for beats. This could be sending emails, marketing emails, uploading on Instagram and YouTube. All of the things that you do in your business, I want you to write them and list them out. Okay, so now that you have all these things listed out, I want you to categorize them in 3 different categories. The first category is going to be things that you have to do. Like, this is something no one else can do in your production business. And usually this is like making the beats. Like, usually you have to make your beats. You're the beat maker, you're the producer. Or it could be showing up on camera. If you're creating videos that's helping artists or producers, level up and teach them how to do certain things, then, you're the person that has to show up on camera. No one else can do that for you. These are things you have to do. Now, the second category is things that you can actually automate. So this is things that you don't have to do, but it's something you can use technology to do for you. So this could be email campaigns. If you want a series of 3 emails to go out every week, you don't have to sit and manually type out each email at the time that it's supposed to go out. You could use technology to schedule these emails out. You just sit down one time, schedule them out, and have technology shoot those emails out when they're supposed to go out. Or this could be scheduling your Instagram content for the week. You can use an app like Hootsuite or Preview or something like that to schedule out, those posts to go out, so you don't have to be on Instagram manually posting each post or manually uploading YouTube videos. You can schedule this stuff out and have technology do it for you, so you don't have to worry about it and switch gears. Shout out to Airbit for automating the beat buying, purchasing process, right? So when an artist comes and they purchase a beat, everything is automated, from them getting a receipt to getting the files and trackouts and things like that. All of that is automated, so we don't have to worry about it as producers. Now let's talk about the third category, and this is figuring out the things that you can delegate. This is something that you don't have to do, but it's also something that technology can't quite do the best, so you may want to outsource it to someone who specializes in this. And this could be something like YouTube video optimization, like yo, that joint is like a science in itself. So if you're not an expert in optimizing your YouTube videos, you can hire somebody else to do that. And you can use services like Upwork.com or Fiverr.com to do some of these things for you. If you're not an expert at creating artwork and graphics for your releases, you can outsource that and have someone else do that and implement that into your process. Now, if you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of extra money to spend delegating tasks and hiring people to do certain things, you may have to do a lot of these things yourself, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it's gonna make you a better leader and a better teacher so that when you do pull other people in to take over these tasks, you'll know exactly what you want and how to explain what you want so that, you know, the communication will be better when it's time to hand those tasks off. Okay, so we have a list of everything we do in our business. We know the things that we have to do. We know the things that we can automate, and we know the things that we can delegate. Now it's time to create a consistent schedule, right? So for example, my schedule looks like, you know, Monday through Wednesday, I'm focusing on music production, create music for TV and film, create music for artists. I'm only focused on creating music for those 3 days out of the week. Thursday, I'm focusing on marketing, learning things about marketing, sending out and scheduling emails and things like that, working on content, things like that. Everything that revolves around marketing, that's what I'm focused on Thursday. And then Friday is more of an admin day / content creation day as well. So that's pretty much me finishing up any lingering things that I have going on content wise, as well as handling just some of the business stuff, financial stuff, and making sure everything is on track on Fridays. The reason I do this is because as an entrepreneur, you know, who's running their own business, a lot of times, especially as creatives, like we can jump from task to task and, you know, not actually make any ground on one specific task because we're just jumping all over the place. So having things scheduled out in days like this for me personally helps because I know I'm not neglecting any part of my business because I know there's a dedicated day for the important things that I need to push my business forward, right? I have to make music, you know, I have to do marketing stuff, right? So that more people can learn about what I do, my music and things like that. So I know that each day, you know, is set aside for me to focus on those things. So I don't feel bad sitting and going in on beats for 3 days because I know, you know, I'm gonna have time to do the other stuff on the other days. One tip I also wanna give you is batching tasks together. So similar tasks such as creating videos, right? So if you're creating videos for YouTube, once you're already set up to create a video, you might as well knock out multiple videos versus setting up, taking the time to set up and then breaking it all down and setting back up the next day. That's gonna waste a lot of time. So if you batch a lot of the similar tasks together while you're already in that mode of doing whatever that is, it's gonna allow you to be more productive, right? And that's why Monday through Wednesday, I'm just focusing on music production, right? Because I already have my keyboard set up, I have my DAW set up, and I'm just in that mode of creating, and it just allows me to stay in that mode and not shift gears too often. So batch creating or putting similar tasks together can help you save some time as well. Now, let's talk about project management, right? When I first started out, I didn't have like a whole lot to manage project-wise. A task list was fine for me. You know, if I was working with a couple music libraries to pitch my music for TV and film, you know, I'll just write that on a task list, on a to-do list, and I know, you know, just to check it off once I knocked it out. It wasn't crazy. But as time went on and I started taking on more projects, things started to kind of get a little confusing, right? So I needed a better way to manage my projects. So if you're at that point and, you know, you're doing a lot of different things, I highly recommend using some type of project management app or software to help you manage and visualize the things that you have going on in your production business. So you can use something like Asana, Monday, or Trello, something that'll just help you visualize and keep track of what's in progress, what needs to be done, what's already done, so you can know exactly what's going on and you can stay focused on the most important projects at the time. Okay, so that's pretty much time and project management. Now let's talk about file management. As producers, we're managing a lot of files and we have to make sure, we're organized in a way that, we can work efficient. If someone needs some files, we can, quickly recover them and send them out to whoever needs them at the time, right? So organize your files in a way that makes them easy to find so you can easily access them and get them out there. You also want to make sure you back up your files so you can have some redundancy in case your computer crashes or your hard drive crashes. You want to make sure you still have an extra backup of those files in case someone reaches out and needs them. So I'm going to go through kind of how I have things set up from a file management perspective and, just how my computer and sessions and all that stuff is set up. So my main drive, that's the drive that has, my software, Mac OS, my DAW and things like that. The only thing I keep on my main drive, like session wise, my Logic sessions are the sessions that I'm currently working on. So these are projects that are in play, I'm working on, I'm either making edits, I'm either finishing the beat or something of that sort. Now this main drive is linked to Time Machine. If you use an Apple, then Time Machine is a lifesaver. It automatically backs things up multiple times a day according to how you set it up. So it's automatic. Everything as far as my current projects and things like that is going to be backed up. So if my computer crashes, I can just go to that Time Machine drive. That Time Machine backup is on and then just recover my OS from the point of the last backup. Then I have a separate drive. This is a separate SSD drive, and I put all of my drum kits, loop packs, and sound libraries on this SSD. So that includes sample libraries from Contact, Omnisphere, all those joints that take up like massive space, right? I have a separate drive for that. So again, like if anything happens to my main drive, I don't have to go and like reinstall these super massive libraries because they're just on, on a separate drive altogether. This also saves space on my main drive because there's a separate dedicated drive for those larger sample libraries. And then I have a third drive, or it's like a couple of drives. So this is my backup drive. This is where once I'm done with all of my sessions and I'm not doing any edits and it's just finished, I move it to this backup drive. And I have my backup drive set up in what's called an array, a RAID 1 array. And what that means is pretty much there's two drives, right? There's the main drive where I drag and back up all of the session files and audio files and things like that. But then there's a second drive that copies that first drive. So if either one of those drives fail, there's always a second copy of everything that I back up on that main drive. It creates an extra layer of redundancy, and I don't have to worry about losing anything on that backup drive because it's actually backed up twice. So I use this backup drive for, finished sessions, track outs, and any, final wave files from a project that I've bounced out. This drive is also backed up daily. So once I drag something to that backup drive, it's gonna back up multiple times a day on that second drive as well. So that's a brief overview of how I have my drive set up and how I manage my files and where, certain types of files live within my production environment. Now, there is a bonus tip I want to give you because this has happened to me personally, and I know other producers who it's happened to. Fortunately, I was able to recover from it, but I also learned from it. So what happened was a publisher reached out to me and notified me that a new show on MTV wanted to use one of my tracks that I sent them years ago. It was like 3 years ago. They wanted to use it for a promo for this new show. And they wanted me to send out a specific version, right, that only had certain sounds in that track. Well, the problem with that is that I created that track on an older system and I had sounds in that session that I don't have anymore, right? So I had to go in and like manually find sounds that were as close as possible to the original sounds so that I could send it to them and they would know the difference. Luckily, they didn't know the difference. But what that taught me was it's always important to create a second DAW session with not only the MIDI files, but create a second session of just the wave files printed out, right, as audio files. Because if you only have the MIDI and you only have the VSTs and things like that, if anything changes over the years with your VSTs or your plugins, you're gonna be in a situation, right? So if you print them as audio within a session and then save that session. Logic makes it really easy because we can create an alternative version within one session, and then we can just print those stems out as audio, bounce them out as wave, and it bounces everything in place. It applies the plugins and things like that. So you don't have to worry about it. So if you go back to that session 5 years from now, it's gonna sound exactly how it sounded when I originally created it. So I highly recommend you do that for all of your sessions. That way you know you have all the sounds that you had when you originally made that beat, in case somebody comes back and wants, you know, different versions or track outs of that session. So hopefully this information was helpful for you. Hopefully you learned some things that you may be able to implement and help you manage your time better and help you manage your files better as a producer. If you liked the video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to join us over on the Airbit Discord community. The link to that will be in the description as well. That's all I have for you today. Until next time, people, peace.